Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of Meal Prep, our show where we look at any upcoming games and dissect, analyze, ask questions, discuss all that good stuff so that we can see how excited we are about these upcoming games that we have to look forward to. And today we are going to be doing one for Spider-Man 2, easily one of the most anticipated games of the year if you just look on Twitter, social media, honestly anywhere. It is definitely one of those games that we needed to do a meal prep on just for the anticipation, the excitement of this game. And joining me today, I'm your host, Uncharted Wolf. Joining me today is Bench,
Hello, I'm happy to be here. First meal prep, so let's go.
and another person whose first meal prep is Fusion.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it to be my first meal prep, and it makes sense that it's a Sony game because I'm a Sony pony.
God bless. And the other person's first meal prep, I'm the only one who's done a meal prep before, by the way, but the other person's first meal prep is Jat.
Hi. Yeah, it's good to be here. You know, we talked about a character that's read last week, Wolf, and now we're doing another one this week.
Okay. Let's calm down.
One's just a lot better.
Well, before we get into it, I just want to make sure that you guys know that you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, rest in peace, and Audible. Like the podcast, we're growing. We definitely could use all the support possible. And follow us on Twitter, sliceofgaming.com. And I guess also make sure to check out our main podcast, the Slice of Gaming podcast, once a week, every week, around Saturday morning. Check us out. But I think I just want to start off the panel just real quick. Like, what are our memories with Spider-Man 2018 and Miles Morales? Like, how did you first play the game? Your opinion on the game. I'll start with you, Fusion.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I just replayed through 2018, so like I have it very refreshed in mind. But I remember my first playthrough was at launch. It was like one of the few PS4 games that I was like, well, I guess not few because I was excited for most of them, but it was one of the PS4 games where it's just like I knew I needed to get at launch because 2018 was a time where like I wasn't getting a lot of the games at launch. Like I wasn't as big into like single players as I am now, which is insane to think about. But so it was definitely one of the few games where I was like, I have to get this at launch. And I remember getting it, and I remember just feeling the opening scene of 2018 feels so special as not even just a game, but as a superhero game where like it just has all the vibes of Spider-Man right off the bat. And like I just remember falling in love from like the very start of loading that game up.
What about Miles Morales?
Miles was I also got Miles at launch, and Miles I was even more excited for because it was a PS5 launch title. And like I got it with my PS5 and I got the PS5 day one. So I remember sitting there waiting. I had work off that day. I remember waiting for that FedEx truck to deliver my PS5 and Miles Morales, and I was just like so excited. So like it was the very first PS5 game I had on hard copy. Miles, I like Miles. I like it less than Spider-Man 2018. I still think it's a great game. I think Miles is a great character. But like as a package deal, they're like phenomenal.
Yeah, for sure. Jat, what about you?
Yeah, so I also played it at launch when it came out September 2018, and I felt blown away. Just like best looking game I've played on the PS4 at the time, and like oh my gosh, like this was this Spider-Man game I've dreamed of. Like I before this, I played the movie tie-in games, The Amazing Spider-Man. I think even this Amazing Spider-Man 2 game. They were games all right, just barely passable. But now this feels a a real good step in that direction. Where like yeah, like this is like a new ground up story, and of course like the combat's fun, just roaming around as Spider-Man. And then same with Miles, where like where like yeah, like Fusion said, like it's a nice like add-on, but like obviously like, the first one's just better as a whole package. But yeah, like just having some a little bit of extra story that it feels like more the same, but some different combat. It's it's been fun.
That's great to hear. I guess Bench, what about you?
I did not play day one. I think I played it first in 2018, and I really liked it. I mean, that ending always hits. The gameplay was just super satisfying. I mean, just like it's not like one of the best games ever, but it's one of the most like polished, like you're gonna have fun all the way through games you can play. And for Miles, I did play day one on the PS5, and I mean I like Miles more than 2018. Not by a good margin, but by a good bit. I found the story was a little story of 2018 I liked more, but it's still good in Miles. It's just a little predictable, is all. But I like the gameplay. I like the vibe of Miles a lot more. And then I replayed 2018 and 2021, and I just loved that game even more. While I still like Miles more, they're both two massive, great games. And I can't imagine like this is better, and people are like teasing online who are reviewing it that it's like really something special. I can't wait.
Yeah, I guess my history is very much. I'm a huge Insomniac fanboy. I love the Spyro games. I grew up with the Ratchet and Clank games. Like those games, I was obsessed with as a kid. And I remember around 2016 when they revealed the Spider-Man game at that E3 of Dreams, where like Sony just kind of went crazy that E3. I remember being more excited by the notion of Insomniac making a new game than there being a Spider-Man game, because like I will be there for any new Insomniac game. And I think with the idea of like Spider-Man 2018, kind of my anticipation for it, I remember like thinking like near launch, I'm like, maybe it won't be as good as I'm making it. And then I played it, I'm like, no, never mind. Insomniac never misses, and I absolutely loved it. It was like in my top 5 for that year. Genuinely a 10 out of 10, or maybe not 10, well, maybe a 10 out of 10 game. I don't know. I really love that game. And then with Miles Morales, it's actually a more funny story because I remember I didn't get the PS5 day one, but I tried to for
Let me.
months. And what
Wait, you
happened?
didn't get it day one?
I couldn't. I was trying. I kept trying to pre-order it. I kept trying to go, but like it always was sold out. And what
How long did
happened?
it take?
It took until February 2021, like 4 months of me. Like
That
I was,
sucks. Yeah,
yeah,
I was there
yeah.
day
I know
one.
it sucks. I know it
That
sucks.
sucks bad.
I was legitimately trying my best to get this thing like every fucking week, trying to I had Wario 64 notifications on telling me when. But what happened was that I bought Demon Souls and Spider-Man Miles Morales on PS5. So what happened? I got those day one. So I just had
Oh
these two
no.
PS5 games sitting on my shelf that I couldn't play until I got my actual PS5. So that was really not a fun experience, but I did eventually get it. I got Miles Morales, and I basically like I was like dual playing that and Demon Souls, and it was just that feeling of like playing Miles. It's like, god damn, it's good to be back, just swinging around with a brand new console like that. That's kind of one of those like unbeatable feelings when you get a brand new console, is like playing that game and really being obsessed with it. But honestly, yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of Spider-Man, as you can tell. I've always been a fan of like not the comics, but like the TV shows, the movies, and whatnot.
The
But
best
I guess
superhero.
the best superhero, second to Batman. But yeah.
Okay, dude. Like,
What?
Wow.
Wait,
Okay.
wait. What's this? Wait, hang on. You guys don't
Batman
think?
is like overrated as shit.
Okay, no, that is
oh my,
bullshit. Batman's a fucking badass.
like if you
What is
tell me
this?
your
He's
favorite superhero is
lame.
Batman or Superman, I immediately am just like, well, cool, I
Okay,
guess.
Superman, I'll give you. That's lame. Batman,
They're
he's
both
a
lame.
fucking. No, you are a fucking clown if you think that. That's funny. Okay, Jack, what about you? What do you think of Batman?
The
I
Flash
think
is where it's
Batman.
at.
Okay, yeah, Batman's pretty great, but I mean, obviously, we're talking about Marvel games here, but very quickly, DC just has the better villains and more trauma with the characters than Marvel.
True. That's what I keep saying. All right. All right. Well, side tangent alone. I guess like just moving into it, like how are you guys feeling like anticipation wise for Spider-Man 2? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, like what's your hype level at?
Um, I will say, like, the closer we get to this game, the more excited I am. Like, I was excited when they announced it. I'm like, okay, Spider-Man 2, it's gonna hit. But like, the closer we have gotten, I think my number rises like every week, and I feel like it's a 9 to like 10 at this level. Like, I want to be there day one. I want to have the controller in my hands, and I want to swing around as Spider-Man. Like, it's it's weird to say because it's probably not, but I feel as if this game is still somehow underrated on like a hype level or like as a video game level. I feel like people are still just like throwing. They're saying it's not like a shoe in for Game of the Year. They're just saying like I feel like we're not giving Insomniac and Spider-Man 2 enough credit for being this really good game because people are just expecting it to be like a sequel to Spider-Man 2018. And like 2018 was a fantastic video game. So like it's weird to see obviously there's a lot of hype for this game, but I feel like there's not enough hype for actually the level of quality that we're about to experience in 2 weeks. I don't know if I'm alone on that or if anyone else here feels that way.
No, it's a weird thing in general. Like I feel like it's kind of like that known quantity thing with Spider-Man 2. That's why the hype isn't nearly as there as like say Starfield. But probably this game's gonna be better than Starfield. Sorry, Starfield hatred coming out. But I don't know. Bench chat. How do you guys like? What's your hype level at 1 to 10?
I'd just give it about a 9. I mean, everything. It's gonna be great, and I know, but also being in that known quantity, I think knocks it down from being that straight 10. Like well, I wasn't really paying attention, but I know that was for a lot of people coming into 2018. But being a known quantity does hurt it a little bit, and also I'm playing it like a week after release, so I can't let myself get too excited now, because then the FOMO's gonna kick in, and we can't have that.
I feel that. Jet, what about you?
Yeah, so for me, it would be probably like a 8 or a 9 because like obviously with like the first game Miles Morales, it's a lot easier to know what to expect. And it's more of the same, which is pretty nice. But yeah, like I still don't have a PS5 yet for this game, so I'm debating if I should like just get my own or like borrow my brother's for like a week and then play through it. But yeah, I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, I'm sitting around like an 8 or a 9. It's kind of a tough thing of me where it's like I'm excited for the game, but I'm also like, there's other stuff coming around that time, and like I don't know if I'm actually going to play it first over Mario. It's a tough decision for me at least. Apparently, really easy for someone like Fusion, who's just betraying Mario. By the way, I just
I'm
want to
not
state that.
betraying Mario. It's just like are Nintendo games $70 yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, but like
No,
$60 for a game that's gonna be 5 hours compared to I
It's
know
not
like
going to be
the
5 hours.
I
That's
know the
what
whole
go for
price
100%.
argument. I know the whole
Oh,
price argument, but like I know what I'm getting with a $70 Spider-Man game. I'm getting 30 hours of just straight balling content where it's like it's going to make my wallet feel okay. I'm going to be justified spending that money. But if
I
I'm
don't know
going
if
to
you could ever
spend
feel justified playing video games. I'll be honest.
I mean, but if I'm going to spend $60 on Mario and beat it in 8 or 9 hours because I'm not going to 100% because I don't like 100%ing platformers, which I know is weird. It's the one genre I don't care to platform. I mean, 100%, especially 2D, 3D platformers I will do, but 2D I don't do it. So like, I'm not going to get the price to like hours played value in a Mario game off launch that I'm going to get with Spider-Man personally.
That's fine. That's fine. I get it. I understand. Again, we keep going off topic with like these random debates, but I guess like moving into it, I wanted to talk about like kind of that first gameplay reveal we got during the PlayStation showcase, which we all talked about on the podcast. We were very disappointed by that showcase, but we did overall say that we liked the gameplay shown. I mean, like looking back on the gameplay, were you guys satisfied with that gameplay reveal? Did it give you enough of what you wanted to see out of Spider-Man 2?
yeah, I was super satisfied. I mean, I think that really nailed that it will be more of the same, but just more expanded and better. And I mean, that's kind of what I want with the sequel. I mean, it also showed us like some of the villains we're getting in that. So we know pretty much all the villains are returning on top of Wraith, which is probably the former police captain, and then Lizard, and I think that was it. Maybe there was some more.
I
But I
know
mean,
Lizard was there, and
yeah,
also
I said
what?
Lizard.
Oh yeah, Lizard. I know. I'm just saying Lizard, and then who's that? Craven.
Craven,
Uh,
yeah.
Interesting.
So very exciting
Uh,
stuff.
yeah, it was interesting watching that trailer. I do. This is a topic I'm going to pose to you guys. Do you guys like Yuri Lowenthal's Venom voice? Because that is a very mixed thing right now.
I
Um,
think it's fine.
I haven't heard enough of it to like give an actual like proper like analysis. Like I feel like we haven't heard enough of his Venom voice to be like this is good or this is bad.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
And
tough to like really go into it. Go ahead, Mitch.
I'm curious if we're gonna have, because if I remember, Spider-Man 2, it had a lot of set piece moments, but they were kind of spaced out. And I'm curious because lizard fight seems like a pretty big set piece moment. I'm curious how many of these we'll have in Spider-Man 2.
I mean, obviously, set pieces definitely tend to be like a big Sony first party thing. I mean, you look at Uncharted. Last of Us even had like a lot of set piece moments. Like they're very set piece heavy games, and I think that they want to like try to. I think they're going to lean more into those set piece moments for this game. Like there were quite a bit in 2018, and even in Miles Morales. So I do think
The
we'll get
Prison Break,
that Prison
so
Break was
good.
something. Oh man, the Prison Break though. I remember when they fucking revealed that whole sequence in like an
Yeah,
E3 trailer, and I'm like, why are you showing this?
that was actually
I didn't
one of
watch that, so I went in unspoiled.
that was actually one of the cons for me. And I thought this gameplay showcase was like great. It was everything I wanted to see, but I felt like I personally wasn't really like I needed to see an on rails type experience, which is what they gave us mainly. Like other than the very beginning where you see Pete like fighting the guys in the backyards, like the entire like boat chase with Lizard and everything, it was impressive, but like I really did not want to see an on rails experience. Like I wanted more of like to see how the open world was going to interact or things like that. I don't know, where it's just like I felt like it was too on rails, and I think it made it look even closer to Spider-Man 2018 than we already knew it was going to be like Spider-Man 2018, where people could say this is the exact same game. And I felt like they didn't hinder themselves with that showcase because it was still very impressive. But I think going like an almost completely on rails experience kind of like hindered it a little bit.
I mean, it's a topic of discussion in general of like what constitutes being able to be shown in a showcase where it wouldn't spoil the game for like people who want to play the game, but also get people intrigued by the game. And I guess like what you say, like a set piece moment like that isn't exactly what you wanted to see. My counter argument is that like when marketing, you do want to show those set piece moments because that's what gets people like watching. That's what gets eyes into your thing of like, look at this crazy set piece of them chasing Lizard. I will say, maybe not the set piece I would have chosen, but this also tells me that there's probably going to be bigger set pieces that they don't want to show off yet. And like, this is kind of like the most tame one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, like just in general, like, is there anything else from that initial gameplay reveal that you guys want to discuss, or we got one move into the next?
Yeah, so this is just something I'm like more curious about. It's just like like we mentioned this a little bit, the symbiote like Spider-Man, and also and like how that develops, like not Spider-Man but Peter. Like that's the thing with this trailer. They only showed mostly Spider-Man and like and like Miles Morales as Spider-Man, but we didn't get to see much of Peter and actual Miles. Like
I
that's what I'm
mean,
hoping to see more.
yeah, in other trailers we see a little more of that, and I think that this trailer, I think, nailed what Peter's gonna be like when he's using the symbiote powers. He's not holding back. He's just like throwing people around with no remorse. And in the original Spider-Man, if someone was thrown off a roof, he'd like web zip them to the side of a building. I don't think he does that in this game whenever with the symbiote.
You know,
Like,
I hope
go
this
ahead.
means we get emo Peter back from Spider-Man 3 in the movie.
Yes, dude. If they're gonna make a reference. Like it would, knowing Insomniac, they're gonna make a reference. Like he's gonna do the dance at one point. There's no way he doesn't. Yeah, no, I'm interested. I heard some things say. Did any of you guys watch Spider-Man 3, or is it just me and Jet?
Yes, but it's
I've
been a
only
long
watched the
time.
amazing games, the amazing ones in the MCU trilogy.
Oh, young one over here. Wait, Fusion, you have Spider-Man
Yes,
3?
but it's been like it was once and it was a long time ago.
I've heard people say this game. I don't know who said this, but Spider-Man 2 is gonna be like them fixing Spider-Man 3. And like it'll take more inspiration from Spider-Man 3. This wasn't like an official interview. This is just what people are theorizing. And it's like, I don't know. That makes sense, but also it's like that would require like Sandman to come back into the picture. And it's like,
Dude, that would be
is he
insane if
back?
Sandman showed up.
I mean, so far, like, I mean, that's kind of one of the questions I could pose right now. Like, what other villains do we have? Like, we know Wraith is coming back, Lizard, Craven, all those characters. Like, so far, those are the villains that we know of. Maybe a couple more. But I guess I'll just ask the question for you guys: like, what other villains do you guys think will show up in this game.
I think the big one is
Sandman comes to mind, but I mean, like, we already have a giant cast of villains, but I mean, I'm not lying. I want more. I want some cool stuff.
And they did Sinister Six for the first game, so it's like they very much are fine with like doing a lot of villains.
my question is, do they save Green Goblin for a third game?
They save it. There's
Yeah,
no way they do Green
they
Goblin here.
save it. If they make Harry Green Goblin, that would be like the end thing of this game, and then you'd see it.
My current theory
In the
is
next
that
game.
third game is going to be the villains are going to be Green Goblin and Carnage.
I mean, what if Carnage is this game? What if that's like the twist towards the end?
Venom is such a major like character in and of itself. I feel like adding Carnage would be too much bloat, and I feel like they took a lot of the criticisms from 2018 where like a lot of people said like there was too many characters, too many villains, like the game felt bloated. I think they took a lot of those to heart, and they want to like avoid like having too many villains and too much like stuff at once. Like Sinister Six from the first game is a lot to go off of. So that kind of tells you it's like maybe they want to slow down and say, okay, this game is just Venom and Craven as the main
We
ones.
saw a Mysterio
And we know
in
Martin
the trailer,
Lee.
right?
Oh yeah, Mysterio.
Like we
Yeah,
saw one of
he's
those
gonna be
symbols in
here.
the sky, like in that recent trailer. I'm pretty sure there was a Mysterio like
There
open
was.
world thing.
And then we know
Oh, yeah,
Martin Lee's back, and Miles has to confront him.
Martin Lee, who was that again?
Mr. Negative.
Oh, Mr. Negative. Oh man, this is like that's the thing though. Like those are like returning villains. I feel like if you have all those returning villains, plus you have like the new villains with Craven and Venom, adding Carnage is just like okay, we could save Carnage. We don't need Carnage in this game too.
My only issue is if I really don't want Mysterio to be just like a taskmaster from the first game, like where you're just doing like 12 of his challenges. I feel like Mysterio is a really good villain, and I feel like he needs to be bigger, like a bigger role in the game, other than like he's just going to be a side activity.
I mean, that's a thing in and of itself. Like, what villain could fulfill that role of side activity? Like, would it just be Taskmaster again?
Or does
Wasn't
Wolverine make a cameo? Does
Bench, we're
Wolverine
not in that
cameo?
yet. Wait. We'll get to that soon. But Jack, you had something to say?
Yeah, I was just thinking like because in both Spider-Man and Miles Morales, like they showed Wilson Fisk and he was like FaceTiming Spider-Man and like he was still in jail. But I thought about like if he would if he would break out or something or get released early. But then there's a certain other superhero that I want to see with Spider-Man if they ever bring out Fisk. But I don't think he'll be much of a focus.
Fisk?
Kingpin.
Oh, Kingpin. Okay. I don't know why my brain was. I was like, Fisk? Who's that again? I mean, Bench asked this. We might as well get to it. Wolverine. Obviously, Insomniac is making that Wolverine game, so there is that idea of would Wolverine make that cameo? I say no. I say they're waiting.
Yeah,
At most, it's post credits.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
I think they very much want to avoid an MCU thing where like it's just cameos for the sake of cameos. I think they want to like say like Spider-Man is doing his thing here and Wolverine is doing his thing over there. And like they're in the same universe, but they're not like forced to interact, if that makes sense.
Wait, actually, this just kind of brings me another question. If like not Wolverine, what about another Spider-Man, like a Spider-Verse type of thing? Do you think they would do that?
Spider-Verse is a question that's very big. Again, though, I feel like Insomniac wants to avoid too much blow, and I feel like if you add a Spider-Verse, if you just throw in like Spider-Gwen and Spider Noir, all those other characters, it's like, yeah, that's cool. Like, but at most, I think those are just going to be costumes. I think making them full-on characters by the second game, dealing with the multiverse by the second game would be too much for Insomniac to deal with.
Yeah, and I don't want everything doesn't have to be like this multiverse or like
Exactly.
this universe where you have to create like. Yeah, it's cool on paper, but then like it gets messy, and it's like I want the Insomniac games to like intertwine at some point. Like I would love Wolverine's universe and Spider-Man to share the same universe, but I don't want to get into like the multiverse of things where like you're taking other universal. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't want to get to that point personally because I
It,
feel like that's so overdrawn in media.
it's an issue that's dealing with MCU right now. Like a lot of people are really down on the MCU, including myself, because it's like no one cares about the multiverse. The multiverse is just not interesting anymore, and they very much overplayed it. And I think Insomniac wants to avoid going into the multiverse so quickly.
Yeah.
I wanted to pull up this other trailer, the story trailer. This was from Comic Con around when was this? July 20th. I guess I'll just ask you guys like right off the bat, like, do you guys think this story trailer revealed anything interesting? Do you remember like any big standout moments during it?
In
Um,
2018?
No, this was the story trailer. He never listens, Fusion.
I
He
know.
never listens.
He's talking about the story trailer from Comic Con like 2 months ago.
From
You
2018?
have the. I mean, you have at the very end of the trailer, you have a very like good shot of Venom. I mean, like that's like photorealism kind of stuff.
That
This
looks
game
insane.
visually looks
Oh yeah.
insane.
Oh, dude, visually, like we'll get into like the big details of like what they're gonna do, but like Insomniac clearly like they understand the PS5.
Yeah. They're, I think, carrying it with their games.
I will say
Yeah,
there.
go ahead.
I will say there is a moment in this. I'm pretty sure it's this trailer where you see a part where it's like MJ like hiding behind the wall, and then Peter comes down in like the Venom suit. And I don't know what it says in the trailer, but I'm wondering that part in the trailer makes me believe those MJ stealth missions are coming back.
We're
And then,
back,
and
baby.
then number two,
No.
the only way you make those stealth missions okay is if you're MJ like having the stealth away from Peter, like when Peter's like gone off the rails, like that would be cool,
Mhm.
like story wise. Because other than that, please do not make me play as MJ like sneaking through outposts and like all this other random stuff.
Fusion, let me tell you about the studio, Insomniac Games. One thing they are experts at is creating the best gameplay known to man and then forcing you to do bullshit that nobody wants to do. Let me tell you about Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal, a game with 10 out of 10 gameplay. But then they're like, oh, you got to do a 2D platforming section that controls like ass. Oh, you got to do turret defense. You got to drive a car. And it's like, I don't want to do this shit. I want to do the normal gameplay. Like, this is a weird thing with Insomniac where like they very clearly are like, oh, well, we need variety. It's like, no, your gameplay is good enough. Just do this. You don't need this. Like, if the variety isn't fun, then you don't need to like force in this variety. But that's kind of the thing is though, I this is like since Spyro 1, they've had this issue. I don't think it's gonna change. I think MJ missions are back, and it sucks.
It's one of the things with this studio that I feels like they're a very, very, very good studio, but I feel like they have these just like little random things that hold them back from that just like premium, like the Santa Monica's, like you know what I mean? Like they're like there, but they're not quite there because they have these little things where they just throw the MJ missions in, or they like give you way too many collectibles to get because it's like it's their that's how they make video games and how they've always made video games. So they're not going to change it because they find success in doing that. But it feels like they need to take a few steps to evolve just one step further,
Yeah,
just a little more.
I think their games are like so good that like it is able for like for me at least to like move past those like issues like the MJ missions, like the fucking stupid 2D platforming sections in Up Your Arsenal. I just got mad remembering them. But even then, like I have so much love for the studio that I can just look past a lot of those annoying things because their games are that good. But like you said, if they could just like tighten that stuff out, then I think most people accept that like Insomniac is probably up there for like Sony's best studio. I want everyone to say like, yeah, just fully agree. And it's just like just remove the MJ sections. That's all. No one wants them. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, they're just not the best part of your video game.
Last thing here is the State of Play trailer. This was in the recent State of Play, and I think the one thing I really want to hone in on, two specific things. First is the map. They kind of stated that this is going to be Brooklyn, Queens, and what was the other one? East
James
River,
Coney Island.
Coney Island. Queen is going to be like a big part with Brooklyn as well, and of course Manhattan. And I guess I'll just ask you guys like, what do you think of that map size? Is that a good increase from the first game?
I
It's
think
I
that
do. It's a little smaller than I thought it would be. However, I think it's going to make up for it in the diversity of the new place. It's not just skyscrapers plastered in a new area. There's a lot of diversity and different kind of like locations you're going to have to go through in this new area.
Oh, Jet, you had something to say?
yeah. So what I'm hoping from this map is that like I already found the 2018 size to be like pretty good, like for what you get. You know, like it's a very dense area. I'm hoping with the expansion that's also very dense. Like I hope this is not just them pulling a Ubisoft where it's a lot of emptiness.
Yeah, no, that's kind of the big worry right now is like there's not much to do in those areas. Fusion, how do you feel about this map?
Yeah, that is actually my one worry where Binks talks about like it still maybe feeling too small. My worry is that I don't want it to feel too big. Like I love the size of 2018 map. I think it
Hmm.
works perfectly fine. And I think especially how much how much we know Insomniac loves to add collectibles and loves to add like not useless things, but things where it's like only a collectible or an achievement hunter, trophy hunter are gonna go out of their way to do because it might not add a ton of story stuff, but you're gonna go do it because the backpack, etc. This map looks like it's about double in size. I'm more terrified of like, okay, how much more do they think they have to add now,
Yeah,
quantity wise, over quality because they now made your map bigger.
I mean that thing, what you were saying earlier, it's like too many collectibles. I personally love going for those collectibles, but I know a lot of people who are like, there's no need for that many collectibles.
Yeah, there's I think there's 56 backpacks or something in the first game, which is it's cool because
Jeez.
at least you get a little bit of Peter's past with every backpack. You learn about it, like the video game Peter. You learn about like his past, his other Spider-Man like hunts with other villains, like his stuff with MJ. Like you get to learn some cool stuff, but most players aren't going for those things, and most players you're not going to miss anything story-wise if you leave those out.
Exactly. I will say,
And with
what? Go ahead, Bench.
and with 2018, there were side quests, but they weren't plentiful and they didn't have much meaning. But Miles, they definitely kind of improved that. So I'm hoping they improve it more here.
I bet side quests will they get an increase in that regard. And what you're saying though, Fusion, about like kind of that worry about like needless collectibles, kind of goes into this point of game length that a lot of people were worried about. I think kind of unneedingly so. A lot of the things are saying about the game being around like 15 to 20 hours for the main campaign, and then 30 hours to complete. From what I'm reading here, and it's like, how do you guys feel about that length? Is that too little, too much?
I think it's perfect.
Sam?
Same.
I'm I'm not sure. I also play a lot of long games. I don't think it needs to be above 30 hours, but it's going to depend if the MJ missions are there and how many. Because if
Yeah.
there's a lot of MJ missions and it's 15 to 20 hours, then we have a problem. But if it's 15 to 20 hours of straight Spider-Man action, that's great.
If it's 15 to 20 hours of pure quality, then I don't think, like, it is a weird thing where like stuff like the MJ missions feel so long because they're so boring, so uninteresting. So like if you remove them, it's probably just going to be 15 to 20 hours of pure like quality, and that's kind of what we're all hoping for with this game.
I will say I was surprised when they announced that it wouldn't be like a decently longer experience. I'm happy it's not, but like I was at least thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, this game's gonna be 5 to 10 more hours long because that's what a
Sam.
lot of sequels do. Or like when you make another game, you make it a little longer most of the time. So I was very surprised when they said no, we want to just come back and release a lot of quality, that's how you should make your game. You should get the quality down first. You shouldn't have to stretch your game out because there's no need for it. Games usually get worse when you start stretching for quantity over quality. So if they can nail those 15 to 20 hours, and then my concern, I guess, is not even a concern. I see people's concerns where they're seeing people online like platinum this game faster than they did 2018, which I
Hmm.
isn't a concern for me. But I can see people be like, "Well, this is a sequel. Like, is there going to be less content?" Blah, blah. Like, it leads to a bunch of dead ends that you can't argue about yet because we don't have the game.
Yeah, that's a big worry right now with a lot of people. This idea of like, I'm playing this game for so like just not nearly as long as I thought I would, especially with how long it took. And that's like a whole question in the games industry of like, the how long it takes for each game to come out. But also like this was only 3 years after Miles Morales. That is a pretty good turnaround in comparison to a lot of games out there.
No,
I do
absolutely.
find it. I do find it interesting to like really debate like kind of how long games need to be. That could be a future topic in it as itself. But for now, I mean, like, I guess I want to go into these details. There was one more thing though. I want to talk about the fast travel that they showed off in the state of play,
Oh, yeah.
showcasing that SSD at work. That is exciting.
Starfield like fast travel? Starfield like fast travel?
Yeah,
Where you choose where you want to go?
it's like Starfield, except this game is gonna be good. Sorry, I
Starfield
can't
kicking
control myself.
strays every day.
I dude, after what that game did to me, it deserves it.
I will
But no,
say,
I mean, yeah, go ahead, Fusion.
I would say it's super cool that like, I assume this is what you were about to say, where like kind of like GTA 5 esque, where like you can just
Yeah,
switch to the other character on a dime and like they're just doing something in the world. Like they're just like how GTA 5 you would switch over to Trevor and the dude's just drunk with his pants down in some random alley. Like you could switch to Miles Morales and he might be doing push-ups on the side of the Empire State Building or like in a crime. You know what I mean? It's like amazing that they thought of to do that.
no, that's exactly like I feel like they definitely took from GTA 5 in that regard, which I'm surprised more games don't take from GTA 5 in that regard. Like, I don't know, I feel like they figured it out in 2013, and every other developer was like, nah, let's
Well,
not
how
do
many
that.
games truly like give you open world experience where you also can switch between characters? There hasn't been many.
Yeah, that's the problem. There should be. I feel
Yeah,
like there should be more. I don't know. I
there
guess
have
that's
not
kind of
been
more of
many.
my thing. I want more games like that. But yeah, no, I guess just, I love the way that you when you fast travel, like they showed like fast traveling to I think it was Miles, and he was just like immediately on his wingsuit flying. It's like that is exactly what I want to see.
And this was the trailer where like I was fully blown away from the visuals. Like the visuals looked
Yep.
good in like the lizard sequence, but like this was where you could see the city at night or like swinging through the city during the day. Like the visuals of like the reflections and everything just looks like mind-blowingly good.
Insomniac
Yeah, this
understands
is
the hardware.
this is the trailer that sold me. Like other trailers were good and all, but this is the one that really sold me. And okay, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, it was a weird thing where like I was like passively like excited for the game, like oh yeah, that's one of my most anticipated. But like I wasn't really feeling the hype like I was with like Starfield, and ultimately got disappointed with that game because it was garbage. But in this case, like I played like watching the state of play and kind of getting that feeling of this is going to be something special. Like I reminded myself how much I loved Spider-Man 2018, how much of an amazing experience that was, how much I love Miles, and then just going into this, it's like yeah, this is going to be just as good, if not better. I have full faith in Insomniac to do that.
All the suits look so good.
Yeah, we do. I want to pull up some things. So, Okami Games, this was like a little bit after the PlayStation Showcase trailer. Had some details here. New locations, Brooklyn's Queens, East River. We talked about that. As we talked about also with how the game looks, improved textures, lighting. Here's something Fusion wanted to point out. Peter can now parry. Some attacks can't be dodged, must be parried. I love my parry mechanics. This is my
Dude, the
thing.
parry like that makes because Spider-Man 2018's combat is very much like you're pressing just dodge a lot and it's very overpowered because you have the spidey senses. So I
Yeah.
like love the fact that maybe now you're going to have to like think a little bit more in combat where you're like, okay, you can't dodge this. You have to like perfect parry it or something, you know what I mean? Things like that, which is it adds a whole new element to like the combat, which is already a great combat system.
hmm Yeah, and that's exactly what you're saying. There's like you add these additives to the combat to go make the combat go from good to great, and maybe by the third game it will be like the best combat in all of gaming. Who knows? Like that's how
I
Insomniac
mean,
works. Like,
and it makes sense you may have to take more of a direct approach because the Craven and his crew seem to be more of the powerhouse type. So you kind of got
mhm.
to match that.
Exactly. I mean, like, this is how Insomniac does things. Like, and I bring up Ratchet and Clank again. Like the original Ratchet and Clank, the combat's fine, but like it's not really that mind blowing. But then by Up Your Arsenal, the third game, it's 10 out of 10. It's like the most fun combat in any game, arguably. And like that's just Insomniac is a studio that very much prides themselves on improving with each entry. And I feel like they are gonna take a lot of the improvements they took with Miles Morales and then move it right into this game with Spider-Man 2. I do want to ask, like, do you guys think there's going to be much difference in the play styles of like Miles and Peter? Is there going to be like one Spider-Man that you personally just prefer playing?
I mean, I think it's gonna determine how much Peter's Venom powers kind of differ. Because I know we're gonna have different things we can only do with different Spider-Man, but yeah, who am I gonna like? I guess daily drive throughout the city is I'm gonna determine what I like more. Miles' electric powers or Peter's more full-on approach. And just from the way I like playing games and I find satisfying, I'm probably gonna lead more towards the Peter. So I'm not 100% sure yet.
Yeah, Miles is definitely much more of a stealth focus. With Peter, it feels like that's going to be more of like the heavyweight, like aggression, and I think that's what I'm personally going to lean towards.
It's more of
Yeah.
like, you can go ahead, Jack.
Sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna say. I think the only reason I'm leaning towards Peter is because I've like got a good idea from the first game what the skins are gonna be, and that's like one of my favorite parts of the game, just switching the skins.
Yeah,
I mean,
switching
like
the skin.
they're really leaning into the customizations. They have like 60-something skins on top of each of those skins having different color variants.
Yeah, this is from Insomniac Games over on Twitter. 65 suits, 200 styles. Explore fresh takes on beloved classics or discover unique variations across new designs as the Arachnite and Shadow Spider pre-order suits. Oh, I didn't know those were pre-order suits. Huh. But yeah, no, I mean, like as Ben said, there is a lot of suits in this game. There's going to be a lot of like different customization to the point where like I feel like I'm just going to be changing suits every 5 seconds. Whereas in the first game, I'll be honest, I just got the comic book suit and I was like, that's all.
You know, the funny part is, like, this is awesome when there's so many suits, but like the first game, I got all those suits and I only ever played with the OG Insomniac suit. I don't know
Oh, you're
why.
so
I don't
boring.
know. I
What
don't
the
know
heck?
why. It's just like it
Wow.
makes it like I
It's a
can't.
good
I know.
suit.
I'm not saying it is a me like thing where it's just like I felt the most like I was Spider-Man when I'm wearing the like nice, cool like blue and red like Spider-Man suit. Like that's what I wanted to wear. Like I didn't care for the capes or care for the shirtless Spider-Man. Like they're cool suits and they're awesome that they're in the game, but like for the how I play the game and immerse myself, I can't get immersed when I'm seeing like a weird, funny, like awesome looking suit, but like for me that doesn't immerse me into your universe.
I mean, will you wear the Spider-Man 3 Venom suit?
I might.
I wore the movie suits a lot. I wore the Spider-Man,
Same.
like the Raimi suits. I
Mine,
remember went through a lot of licensing hell, but like we eventually got that. But like I wore the Far From Home like Iron Spider suit. Like I thought that was
yeah,
sick.
that's what I wore. Yeah, because
And
that
And
actually,
Yeah.
I mean, it's more fleshed out now, but that actually had like the skill for the web arms. I mean, the like iron arms or whatever. But it's obviously more fleshed out in this game, though.
Jet, you had something to say?
Oh no, no, yeah, like the part of like the reason I bought the Spider-Man DLC, like, look, the story was fun and all, but I left into the Spider-Verse and I wanted that Peter B. Parker suit, and it and like it took some grinding for it, but yeah, I was happy when I got it.
Speaking of
It's a
DLC,
good
right?
suit. Yeah, I
Well,
guess we
this
can
game.
move into it. Obviously, I can ask the question, Bench. I guess like with the idea of this game, Spider-Man 2018 had DLC, kind of parsed out in waves that a lot of people weren't a big fan of, and I guess the question is if this game will get DLC and if they will go for the same approach.
yes and yes.
I think, yeah. Unfortunately, I think they're gonna do the Wave DLC, and I think it gets DLC. I can't. This won't like because we're not gonna get another Spider-Man game till the end of this gen. Because they're going to go full force on like Wolverine or whatever. So I think we're going to get DLC. And I also don't think it's going to be. I think we get DLC, the first DLC by June of next year.
By June of
So
next year, I could see
I
that.
think it's. I mean, all
Spider-Man
the
2018 had a
DLC.
big turnaround.
Yeah, all of the DLC were out within a year of Spider-Man 2018's launch. So I
Yeah,
think
no.
it's a pretty quick turnaround. Maybe even
If
they
we're
reveal it at like the Keeleys.
if we're looking at like Insomniac's track record, they are very fast when it comes to DLC. Except they refuse to give DLC to Rift Apart, so I
I
just
know
have to wait for the next. I just have to wait for the next Ratchet game.
that's a good call though, Bench. With like I could 100% see a 2 month like not turnaround, but like a trailer at TGA at Keeley's, like that would be just a very hype moment for Keeley to have, where like he
For sure.
introduces the trailer for like the first DLC of Spider-Man 2, like that. I could 100% see that happening at the Game Awards.
It's a scale of announcement that Keighley, like, they would want to give to Keighley too. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you don't get like a brand new game announcement, but you get DLC. It's like Keighley's like, yes, please.
Yeah.
Moving into stuff, I want to finish up what Okami was saying. Not much else. They did have this quote: "Big focus on the black symbiote suit. We're giving it the story it deserves." Obviously, we can get into like that when we start discussing Venom. And then new web swings wingsuit allow for faster traversal thanks to the PS5 SSD, which is always exciting. I guess like, did you guys have a problem with like how fast you went as Spider-Man, like speed wise? Because I don't think I ever had that problem, but the idea of going even faster, just that's an immediate W for me.
It's funny because since I just replayed it, I did at times feel like I wasn't fast enough. Like in a weird way, I was just saying, I wish I could go a little faster. Like I'm going as I'm hitting my like in my groove. Like I'm doing as best as I can swing it here. I feel like I could just be a little faster, like to traverse around the world.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things where it's like I'm fast, but it's like, oh, I could go a little bit faster.
Yeah.
And then Shinobi, this was a little bit after the State of Play trailer. There was he kind of did a roundup of all the details. Fusion, Insomniac, they get us.
They
30,
they
40,
do.
60 FPS modes, all with ray tracing and 120 hertz. We did it, man.
They are technical masterminds. Like they are. You could say like they might not be the S tier studio yet, but like they are the best in the business across all Xbox, Nintendo, across everywhere where they get like their technical minds are like insane and they always deliver on the tech of like giving us options and making those options fantastically and like they always play like no matter which way you're going to play this game 30 40 60 it's going to play like smooth and like butter.
I'm probably gonna
Exactly.
play 60 with ray tracing with VRR.
Yeah, no, I mean, so probably I'm gonna do like the 60 frames per second without question. It's just that it's one of those things. They, like you said it, they're very much like technical masterminds, and in this situations, like I feel like a lot of people got to remember they've always been technical masterminds. Like
Yep.
back in the Spyro days, they broke the PS1 in like kind of creating that idea of like going to far off areas and being able to glide there without like really taxing on the console, really utilizing the console to its fullest extent. And then you look at the PS2, what they were able to do with like Gravity and Ratchet and Clank. Resistance games, genuinely, like Resistance 3 still looks really good to this day. And then you look at 2018, like Spider-Man 2018, like Insomniac has always had this knack for understanding hardware and using it to the fullest capabilities, like the fullest of its capabilities. And now that they are like with this one console, with the PlayStation 5, they will be able to use this thing to the maximum potential. And I'm so excited to see what they do with this console from here on out. And
Be
then
Sunset
some
Overdrive
other.
2.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said it'll be Sunset Overdrive 2.
One day. uh, One thing here, much more destructible interactivity with the environment. I mean, destructible environments is always a plus. Like, how destructible do you guys think this will be? Is it just like a kind of like marketing point, or is it actually going to be like a major part of how like gameplay works?
I think it'll be more than just a marketing point. I think it's something you're gonna notice, but something that may fade into the background after a while, and then when you go back to 2018, it won't be there. You'll really notice it.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it'll be as good as Battlefield Destruction.
You'll never get that. It's not going to be like Battlefield Bad Company 2 or anything. Interesting detail here. Some quests will be story specific to either Peter Parker or Miles Morales. I feel like that was almost like kind of like a assumed point. Like, yeah, of course, like there's going to be some points you can only do as Peter, some quests you can only do as Miles. I think that's very much like soft confirmed thing with how the different protagonists work. Peter's mechanized spider arms are available by default now. I mean, you mentioned that earlier, Bench. It looks like there you go. You got your spider arms.
He doesn't even care about the spider arms anymore.
Yeah, apparently he just doesn't care. Well, thank you, Bench. Points of interest points of interest represented by more immersive visual cues out in the open world that grab your attention. I mean, we talk a lot about like kind of the open world in Spider-Man 2018. I guess they want to go focus more on like creating points of interest, things that you see out in the world, rather than just like making it a map game, kind of like a Ubisoft type deal? Like, do you think it'll be more in that regard of like just you're exploring and then you see something cool and you want to go do it?
I really hope so, because in that
I
State
hope
of
so.
Play trailer, that's what they showed. They showed like drones like flying by a building, and then like Peter going and following the drones, and it leading into like a side activity. Like I want more of like I see something cool happening, go get it. Not, oh, this is marked on my map 100 times. Let me just go through and do the 100. You know what I mean?
And then two more details I really want to hone in on. Peter's symbiote black suit is hypersensitive to sound, felt through the DualSense. We're getting DualSense stuff, Fusion. Let's go!
It's always great when studios give us DualSense features.
Yeah, like once every 3 years they do it, but hey, when they do it,
Once every time a first party game comes out, once every 5 years, that's when we get it.
I mean, Resident Evil games do it. I think
Yeah.
Capcom's good about that.
And even Assassin's Creed does it decently.
Oh, I actually didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah.
And then the last point, and we can use this to like jump off into like kind of our story predictions. The game is darker themed, but there is, quote, tons of humor and funny remarks, end quote, throughout. I mean, of course, it's a Spider-Man game. Of course, there's going to be like quips and whatnot. I'd be shocked if there wasn't. But I
Let's
guess like
go
kind of that.
darker.
Yeah,
I love
this is
dark
kind of
themes.
this is a big thing with a lot of trilogies. This idea of like kind of the second in the trilogy being like the darkest. A lot of like the most brutal points for our protagonists, like the saddest moments throughout. I guess like I'll ask you guys, like, is this gonna be like the darkest Spider-Man of the trilogy? Is there even gonna be a trilogy? That's a question in and of itself.
They may even be more than a trilogy, but I do think this game's going to be pretty dark.
Mm-hmm. What
Yeah.
about you,
Yeah.
Jet?
Yeah, I think we're really gonna like they're really gonna hone in on that, and definitely I think explore a lot more of Peter with this shade now, like with the symbiote, and that actually really excites me because I like that idea of seeing a hero go kind of negative, you know, kind of like a Shakespearean tragic hero.
I mean, that's the question. Is like, is it going to be like a tragic hero type deal, or is it going to be much more like, I guess, dark in the sense of like how the symbiote works? Like, I don't know. It is interesting because we kind of agreed beforehand we're going to do like a full spoilers for Spider-Man 2018 and Miles Morales. One of the big things that happened at the end of 2018 was obviously the death of Aunt May. Very sad moment, very surprising moment. And I guess, like, do you guys expect a character death like that in this game of that scale? And who do you think that will be?
Wait, this is one thing I noticed. Just with why is it that when Aunt May is associated with Feast, the movies or the games, she dies?
It's very, yeah, it's like very much hit or miss thing, depending on what they want to do.
On your, I don't know what. It's hard to think of like what main. I'm trying to think of a main character that could die that could have like the impact that Aunt May in 2018 did for me. Like
Hmm.
I don't know. I can't think unless it's like Harry. Let's say Harry's Venom. Let's say I'm not saying he is, but let's say in this game Harry is Venom, and like they end with a moment where like you're killing Venom, also killing Harry type thing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That could work, and that would be like really emotionally tying because of it depends how much on-screen time that dude gets and a bunch of other stuff because you don't see him a lot in 2018. You only read about him and like read about his quote unquote sickness and all of that. So like I don't know. I can't think of like a character that would have a big enough impact like Aunt May unless it was a 2018 returning character like an MJ or like a
Yeah,
Peter. If somehow Peter, you know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, I'll ask like right here. I'm gonna list a character, and you guys just say like percentage chance that they die. Just right off the bat, Peter Parker,
30%.
50-50.
Yeah,
40.
50-50 if they want to kind of go that route of having Miles be the next main Spider-Man.
But I do
All right,
have an
speaking of
idea for a
Miles,
different character, so I'll share that
look at
later.
look at it. Yeah, Miles Morales, chance of him,
Like
like that's
0.
10%.
10%.
Zero.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very low. They very much want to like set him up to be as the next Spider-Man. MJ.
80.
Whoa.
80.
Yeah.
Bro wants her dead.
I'm going 25.
Fuck those.
I'm gonna say 60. I think it's very possible.
Really? I just don't. First, it would be crazy
I
if
think
they killed off MJ.
Okay, here's the real thing. I want MJ to die so that, like, we can just fully go with Black Cat as the best girl.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I have my idea is that Peter leaning into the darkness leads to MJ's death, and he blames himself
Exactly.
for it, and that leads into Spider-Man 3.
See, that's the thing. I think that's something they could go with, but I also feel like Insomniac's like, we want to avoid that cliche. But I also think cliches work. That's
I
a
also
cool
feel like that's
cliche.
very, very dark for an Insomniac game.
I think it could happen. You forget, like,
They
Insomniac.
killed Aunt May.
MJ's,
They don't.
yeah,
They
Aunt May's death was dark.
I mean, yeah, but that's like Peter killing his own girlfriend, like killing MJ.
I'm not saying he kills her.
Oh,
His
okay.
actions
Yeah,
just
yeah.
directly lead to her death. Therefore, he blames himself for it.
I thought you meant he
Maybe
himself kills her, and I was like, okay,
It
that
could-
seems like Scream.
it could be a situation where, like, maybe he gets corrupted and MJ's in danger. He doesn't immediately go to save her, and it leads to her death, and he starts to blame himself. All that stuff, like, maybe I could see a situation where the ending is like Peter killing Venom, like, deciding whether to kill Venom at the very end. Someone stops him, and then he's like, "I'm done being the hero," and then he leaves, and it kind of is just like you play as Miles the rest of the time now, like when you're doing free roam post game and whatnot. I genuinely see a situation where that happens. It's kind of that exciting thing where you don't know what's going to happen because this isn't modeled off a specific comic book or movie. This is Spider-Man 2. This is Insomniac Spider-Man.
What if they really do like a GTA where at the end you can choose like either to sacrifice Peter or Miles?
No, but then they got to do the Death Wish option, and Fusion knows. Me, you, and Fusion.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Death Wish is the only option.
It's always Death Wish.
It's just it's an interesting detail. Like, again, we don't know where they will go with this. I guess that's all the major characters. I guess we can move into this big question. They very much said Eddie Brock is not Venom. So I'll ask you guys here: who is Venom?
I think it's Harry,
Craven?
personally.
I don't think it's Harry. I don't think it's Harry.
I feel like Harry is too obvious, and they don't
And I
want to
think-
they would have said it.
Harry's gonna be Green Goblin. He can't be Venom as well.
No, I think Norman's gonna be Green Goblin.
Yeah, I think
What is?
could be Harry. I don't know.
I mean, that's the question, right? Again, we don't know anything. Do they make maybe Harry is Venom, Norman is Green Goblin?
That's
said.
my take because
Or it's the other way around.
Recently playing through 2018, you can see in certain scenes, like when you're in Norman's office and stuff, he's working on the Green Goblin mask. He's working on the Green Goblin grenades. Those are things in 2018 that you can go back and look at. So it's like I feel like they have already had these environmental clues that at least one of those two characters are going to play Green Goblin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also at the end of Spider-Man 2018, that after credit scene where like Harry's in the tank and then you see like him reaching out. Like it's very much
They're teasing it.
It's very much them teasing it. I think everyone's overlooking it, being like, it's gonna be someone crazy Venom like that. I feel like Harry is the person that's going to end up being Venom, and like everyone's like over analyzing it, where they're like, there's no way it's gonna be Harry, blah blah blah. But like to me, it's like in my head right now, I'm like Harry's Venom. Like I feel like they've led to this point where it's going to be Harry. I think it would be the most emotional tie-ins if it was Harry, because that's Peter's best friend. You know what I mean?
Harry has been Venom before in like certain comic adaptations, from what I've been reading about. It is that thing where like there is a precedence for Harry being Venom. I guess like I'll just like straight up ask, like, I think we can fully debate, like, it's very much either Harry Osborn that's Venom, or it's what's that character's name, Craven. It's gonna be one of the two. I personally,
I don't.
Fusion's selling me on this idea of Fusion's selling me on Harry. I think the idea of Craven being like just this other villain sounds more interesting to me than him just being Venom.
And it's like, say the story wise is like, I'm just throwing it out here. I don't know if it would work, but say Norman makes like somehow Harry becomes Venom. Norman regrets it, and that's why he has to go on this Green Goblin route of like, I have to also not like protect the city, but Norman needs some type of like Green Goblin outlet where like if Harry turns into Venom and he's just rampaging the city, like he has to do something about that. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
I mean, go ahead, Bench.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, did Jazz say something? Sorry, I
Oh
know
no, no, no.
someone.
I was just laughing. Yeah.
I guess I'll just ask straight up. Like, maybe is it possible that it's none of the characters? Like, it's a brand new character that's Venom.
No.
Yeah, they wouldn't have.
I don't
be
think so. I don't
teasing
think
it.
they would introduce someone. My point is, if Harry's not Venom, what is Harry in this game? What does he do?
He's just some guy.
That's what I mean. I think they're setting him up. You have an entire storyline about Harry in the first game. Like an entire large part of 2018 is about Harry and his sickness and him being in the tank and you finding those answers out. It would just be a little weird if they had all of that and they were just like, oh, he is back and he's just a normal dude.
Yeah, I mean, there was that question of like, does Harry get cured in this game? Does he just become like an ally to Spider-Man? Like that's kind of like the good ending. I doubt that too. I think I Fusion sung me on the idea. I think Harry does become Venom. That I'm on that side now.
I don't think Venom dies in this game, though. I think Venom's around to stay.
Like as a reoccurring villain in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna. I don't think they fully get rid of him. It's also a symbiote. One part going away. I mean, there's still all like it's. You know what I'm trying to say? There could be one flake left, and he's there.
Yeah, I mean that could be a thing where like the Venom symbiote never goes away fully. But like I do also think like I doubt they're gonna really focus in on Venom in Spider-Man 3. Like I don't think he'll be like any major focus in that game. There's a lot to go over with the Venom in and of itself. I guess I do want to ask. We kind of asked about Wolverine if he was going to be in this game. I want to pose this question: are any other Marvel like characters going to be in this game, or is it they gonna stick to Spider-Man and Miles?
So if they
They'll stick
like,
to them.
yes. So what I was thinking, like, if they push like Wilson or Kingpin a little bit more, which I don't think they are, then I would 100% say Daredevil. But sadly, not this game. Maybe next one.
You find the
Uh,
Daredevil card in 2018.
he could
Oh
be
yeah.
there, like just as a tease. There was always a viewpoint of like maybe a Daredevil video game by Insomniac, but I don't know. My thought of that was always like, what? I'm just gonna be like Daredevil, like I don't know. Am I gonna be blind? Is the screen gonna be off? Like that just doesn't sound like a fun game. I guess obviously post credits scene. Do you guys think there's gonna be a post credit scene in this game? I feel like it's almost like a
Yeah,
guarantee.
100%.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
But like,
100%.
what will that post credit scene tease? Is the real question.
Green Goblin.
That's what I was gonna say. I think it will be Green Goblin piece.
Yeah.
Is the thing. I think here's my theory. Don't call me crazy. There's gonna be 2 post credit scenes. The first one is Green Goblin, and then the second one, Carnage. Just a little tease of
Ooh.
Carnage.
Maybe. I don't know. What if they do another in between game and save that for that?
Damn, that could be good too.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys remember what the post credits for Miles was? I actually forgot.
Just an extension of what we had before for 2018.
Okay, gotcha. Jay, you had something to say?
I think it was the confirmation that it was Harry in the tank, because we kind of guessed in 2018 that it was, but
Yeah.
he wasn't shown. It was just like the gooey stuff. I think that Miles was like the full confirmation that it was Harry.
Yeah, I think Mick is right. I think you do get a full like look of him in the tank.
Yeah. And my only other ideas are like, and I think we mentioned like they won't go this route where they would either tease a Spider-Verse or Morbius.
No, don't say Morbius.
Morbius.
It's not. They lost enough money on that movie.
The more I'm thinking about Venom and Harry, like how could it not be Harry? Like we've seen,
Honestly, like you keep selling me. It's like, damn.
like
I think It is funny because like they've been teasing it. It's like it's not who you think it is. It's like it kind of is.
Like it doesn't make sense. Why would it be him? Like it just I don't know.
What if there's another Venom?
What if it's
There's
MJ?
two. What if it's MJ?
They just throw us off for
Yo,
a loop. It's MJ.
that's how we could kill MJ. Let's go. I mean,
There's no MJ stealth missions because MJ is Venom.
it is so funny how like we're so negative on MJ just because of her missions, but like I liked her character a lot in 2018. I thought she was fine enough, but also it's like Black Cat is so much better. Let's be honest here. Like
Why
we
is
can
she
all
better?
accept this. Like it's just like she's just so much cooler.
Okay.
There was a lot of like NSFW questions that these motherfuckers were trying to put in, and I'm like, no, we're not doing that, guys.
I think MJ does absolutely great in the first game where she's like the
Yeah.
moments where you're like in her apartment and you're cooking dinner. Like there's a great MJ and Peter moments in the first game.
I think my big problem with MJ was like I hated how often she was like, I could do it myself. It's like you are fighting against like these cosmic supervillains that could kill you instantly, and you're getting mad at Peter for being just a little bit worried. I don't know. It got a little tiring after like it was like fine the first time, but like the fact that she just never learned, it was like, why am I still doing your missions? This sucks.
Girl power, bro.
Girl power. You're right. You're right. I'm sorry. All right. This question. I'm just gonna ask this. It's gonna elicit some horrible memories. Will the screwball challenges come back?
God,
No.
I hope
Yes.
not, bro.
Yes,
I
they will.
pray there is no way that they saw how many people were complaining about screwball challenges. But I say this, but this is the same company that had shitty 2D platforming segments in Up Your Arsenal. This is just what they do. I kind of have to accept that Insomniac is just gonna add some bullshit into the game.
I'm just
But I'm
waiting to be playing the game. My phone rings and it's Screwball's voice, and I'm gonna be like, "Oh God, like, leave me alone."
yeah, for that platinum trophy, you have to do those stupid screwball challenges. And it's like they were just not fun.
And
They
every
just hurt.
DLC they added more.
Oh my god, I forgot they
Yeah.
added more. in
Every
the
single
DLC.
DLC they added more Screwball challenges.
Like, why? Nobody likes them. I don't know why they think we like them.
Yeah. There's one thing I hope they don't remove from this game, and that's just J. Jonah Jameson's commentary. Like that has to be in there, right?
It has to. I mean, it was replaced in Miles Morales with something else. I can't remember what it was though.
It
But
was a radio station that for like Harlem or something. I forget. I know
that
what you're talking
sucked. It was so boring because it was just like I'm swinging around. It's like, hey guys, it's Harlem, and it's like,
about.
get this fucking dweeb out of here. This ain't my J. Jonah Jameson. Like, bring back J. Jonah Jameson. That's what I'm saying. This question, Jap posed this question. I'm gonna take it seriously, but I'm gonna try not to laugh. Uncle Ben equals alive?
No.
What's our chances, percentage-wise? All right, I'm
Dude,
just
Uncle Ben is Venom. Uncle Ben is Venom.
Uncle Ben is Venom. I'm with Bench. That's my theory now.
He comes
Yeah.
out of his grave.
That whole idea. I do love though, just like kind of side tangent. I love how in 2018 they didn't do the origin story again. They were like, no, Peter's been like Spider-Man for a few years now. We don't have to do the Uncle Ben stuff again. And it's like that was quaint.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice that you're playing as that.
Exactly.
I-
Like, or, sorry, I was just gonna say you've seen that so many times with that, and then Batman's parents also dying in the alley. Like, guys, stop!
It's
We've
like
seen it.
I could only see him die so many times. Jeez. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I guess like any last minute theories or questions, hopes with this game. How do you guys feel like now?
My one big concern, and I might be only alone. I love 2018 Insomniac's Peter Parker so much. Like, I love the Spider-Man they created. I love the character. I love Yuri as the voice actor. I
Mhm.
really hope they don't go too far in this game with the darkness and the Venom taking over him, like the symbiote taking over him. I hope they don't go too far where they kind of ruin him as a character. Because I think
Yeah.
he is the best Spider-Man in my opinion, out of everyone, out of Tobey
Oh,
Maguire, Tom
easily.
Holland. I think he is the best portrayal of Spider-Man. And my one concern with this game is they kind of throw that all out because the way they're trying to go with the story. So I'm just hoping they nail the parts where it's like it's a darker game, but Peter is still Peter in some parts, and he's still that great Spider-Man, that great like character that they created. That's my like one big concern.
I can't imagine Symbiote Peter will be in too much of the game where like you are playing, say, 90% of the game or even 50% of the game as Symbiote Peter. I feel like it's going to be like there's going to be like this middle chunk of the game where you're Symbiote Peter, like 30%. And that's kind of Peter dealing with the symbiote and whatnot. And then eventually it transitions to Venom being created and all that goes from there. I can't imagine like we stick with symbiote Peter for too long.
I hope, because like it's like replaying that game. It's genuinely so impressive what Yuri has done with that character and what Insomniac has done with like the background and the fleshed out like how the parts where you're in the laboratory with Doc Ock and you're like even just going around doing those things, like doing the little labs.
Mhm.
It feels so good to be like
I
he's
love
like
those
the
puzzles.
best Spider-Man. You know, like he is the best Peter Parker.
Without question. I mean, that's kind of the big thing of like,
For sure.
how do you like transition from like Peter Parker and the Spider-Man? And like an example of this is like the Batman movie. I thought that Robert Pattinson was an amazing Batman. I didn't think he was a very good Bruce Wayne. In Yuri Lowenthal's case, I think he is an amazing Spider-Man, and I think he's an amazing Peter Parker. And it's very much about that balance of like these two different egos, like the secret identity, how well a voice actor or an actor can portray both sides of that personality.
It's just hopefully the writing does some justice. I think Insomniac writing has been great. It's been good enough up to this point. I think this is the game where it's like if the writing is lacking, I feel like the story's not going to hit. And I don't like I said, Insomniac writing has always been good, but they've never been great. And like that's my one concern with this game, where I feel like it has to be great for this game to hit on all cylinders. Can they finally be great?
They were really good at comedy back in the Ratchet and Clank days. And then around like 2016, they very much shifted to more of a Pixar style writing with Ratchet and Clank. And that continued into Rift Apart. And it's like, it's fine. I
Yeah.
didn't like the writing in 2016, but like Rift Apart was like, okay, it's improved. I miss the original Ratchet games and how those were written. Very witty, very like tongue in cheek, very snappy writing. And I don't know, like I think that type of writing will come back in some way with Spider-Man 2. At least I'm hoping for it. We'll see. Like as Fusion said, I don't think when it comes to writing, I don't think Insomniac's like the top of the game, but I've always viewed them as like great. I think they're like very high quality, but you're not like the top of the top tier, like a Kojima level of writing in my eyes.
Yeah, that's where I sit with it. I'm like, your stories are always good enough, your writing is always good enough, but you've never been like blown away. Like I've never been blown away with some type of dialogue you put in or some writing. You know what I mean?
Bench, do you have any like last minute like thoughts, concerns, theories that you want to throw out there?
I mean, do we think this cracks 90?
No.
You don't
I
think
think
so?
I think critics are mean to fucking. I think there's some type of thing going on here. All right, I'm sorry. Like you mean to tell me that
Xbox.
Spider-Man 2018 didn't hit that? No, okay. I don't think this hits 90.
No, I think
It should, but it's not.
89 is my
yeah,
guess.
that's my guess too. Where it's like
Yep.
I think it's so hard to break 89 in the industry, and it feels like a
Yeah.
game that's just going to sit right at 89, and they're going to be so close to that 90, and it just won't break.
I'm sitting at 88. I'm a little bit more pessimistic, not towards the game, but towards reviewers. There's going to be some guy who's like, "Oh, it's just more Spider-Man 2018." It's like, yeah, that's what a fucking sequel is. Sorry. Jed, do you have any thoughts on the Metacritic prediction?
Yeah, I think like it's like what you guys are saying, like in this landscape, and especially with how many really good games came out this year, I don't know if it will get to that 90, only because it's like the critics that are playing this are gonna be like, wow, yeah, this feels familiar, but some of them will definitely see that as a negative for some reason. It's gonna be probably in that 88 to 89 range for sure.
Critics are wrong. That's all. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, I guess I have hopes. I really hope it hits that 90. It's not. It's not. I have a lack of faith in Insomniac. It's more I have lack of faith in the critics. That's all. don't take that out of context.
Well, you'll
Jed,
never be a critic in the industry now, buddy.
God bless. It was good knowing you. Jed, do you have any like last minute thoughts, concerns, ideas, theories you want to throw out there?
Yeah, I mean, we can now top Uncle Ben being Venom.
No,
That's
we're not doing this anymore.
no. Yeah, this is just like Insomniac has set the framework for now what a modern superhero game should be. Before that, the title was held by Rocksteady with Batman, and
And with
now they're doing
Suicide Squad.
Suicide. Yeah,
Yeah, they're bringing it back.
yeah.
Taking the title back. Oh man, I hope that game is something.
Yeah, it
My
will be
last
something.
thing,
Oh,
my
yeah, go
last
ahead.
thing
Fusion.
is this. I feel like this is the moment. Insomniac, everyone knows how good they are, but I feel like this is the moment where if they can hit this, like if they can full on hit this video game, it's up there for a game of the year. Blah blah. This is their okay. You're now Naughty Dog level. You're Santa Monica level. Like you are the S tier PlayStation studio. Not even just on the PlayStation side. You're the S tier. You're an S tier studio across the industry. They just can't miss. Like this is just go out there, hit this game on all cylinders, and like just prove you're the best in the industry.
I'll tell you this right now. If at the Game Awards, the Keeleys, if Starfield is nominated for Game of the Year, but not Spider-Man 2, I'm gonna break my Xbox. You
This
heard
is
it here
character
first.
development. Character
You heard it here
development. Let's
first.
go back 2 months back to the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Okay, listen, Fusion. I'm gonna like fully apologize. You were right. Fucking Starfield sucks. How the hell did we think that it was gonna be guaranteed nominated? That garbage piece of shit fast travel simulator trash can of a game. Sorry.
Wait. I gotta wait until I play it, then we can have some definitive thoughts.
He's
Okay.
the definitive thought giver.
He will decide for us. Yeah, but I guess that's pretty much everything. I mean, my last minute theory is that this game is gonna fucking be awesome. I think that the swinging will be fun enough to always make the game good no matter what. I cannot wait for this game. I will be there no matter what. It's just that question of like, what do I play first, Spider-Man or Mario?
You know what to play first after this.
Okay, well, you know what? Now that you're saying this, Fusion, I'm gonna play Mario first. Just to mess with you now. I'm gonna do Spider-Man first. I can't wait. I'll be there no matter what. But yeah, I guess if that's everything that we have to say about Spider-Man 2. Okay, well, that is also. I think we're all Spider-Man out. We just want the game. That's all.
I just want to play the game.
Yeah. So I guess if you guys enjoyed this episode of this meal prep, please check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Rest in Peace, and Audible. Like the podcast, helps us out. Check us out on Twitter. Check out the main show, Slice of Gaming, and just be excited for Spider-Man. Comment your theories and your ideas of like what Spider-Man 2 is going to be. We will respond. I'm very excited to hear some other ideas that could come around. But yeah, check us out. Say bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Deliver us the goods, Insomniac.
Yeah. With great power comes great responsibility.
Uncle Ben is Venom.
Venom.